Okay, so as I was saying, I think everyone here is familiar with Chika. Hi, Chika, the mustache. It's been a long time. So if
Hi.
you missed the first session last year, I think this is a B part, the B part of the first session that held last year. So this is a good one. Chika is well known in this thing called You Can't Hear Me. Is it just him or someone else can't hear me? Is
I
there
can
any
hear
other
you.
person?
I
Okay.
can hear
Okay.
you.
So Justice, do you want to drop off and join back in? Maybe it's going to be better. Sorry about that. So I don't know if you know, when I started out in tech sales, it was Chika that onboarded me in the company where we used to work at Volley. So I am so sure that, I'm very confident in anything he's going to teach us here. And this is going to be a series monthly. So be excited if you're new in tech sales and if you want to learn more. So yeah, it is. So without further ado, Chika, I drop mic so that you can pick it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate. So I've been a firm believer in TSN right from when it started. And I love, I can say I'm a product of a community, basically. I've had profound effect in being part of communities. And when TSN started, I, couldn't wait to offer value in any way possible. And I'm glad that from time to time, at least once every month, I'll get to have conversations with everyone here. And the thing is, one thing I want to try as much as possible to do, especially in communities like this, is to reduce the formality. I hope we work together to reduce some sort of formality, right? And have conversations, like when you meet someone probably in an informal setting, you're free to talk to the person, right? Ask any questions, laugh, crack jokes. I hope that's how we would actually make it be, so that, because I believe that people will learn much more faster and better when they're more relaxed, right? More like you're talking to your peer. Okay, so hopefully in our conversations from this and from the ones we'll have in the future, it will be a lot less formal. We can ask any questions. No question is dumb, right? Even if what you feel you should know and you don't know it, please feel free to ask, all right? And if others ask questions and you think you know the question or you think that person should know, just listen in and tag along. That would really go a long way to help. All of us are learning. All of us are a work in progress. The fact that I'm here to share what I know doesn't mean I know so much more than you. Okay, so I'm still learning. There are a lot of things I still don't know, even in the particular field I'm sharing the little I know. So having that kind of ideology, having that kind of mindset will go a long way to help all of us. Okay, and as you're getting value from communities like this, you also want to share with people around you, bring them in, right? Recommend the community to them. The more, the merrier. Okay, so that's one thing we could do to also ensure that the spirit in the community keeps going. The vibe is still there; it doesn't die off. All right. So I wanted to find out how many of you were here in the last session we had last year. Would you want to maybe drop a comment on the, maybe an emoji or the thumbs up emoji on the chat? I just want to know how many of us were here at the last session and know how to, you know, carry everybody along. Is it just one person? I can just see Mini K is the only person I saw the thumbs up. Okay, means just one person was here the last time. All right, so I'll just use maybe a few minutes to do a recap of what we discussed the last time before I start sharing my slide, and then go on with what we have for this month, basically. So last month we basically gave an introductory overview of what tech sales is all about, because we've been hearing a lot of people. It's a phrase that's been used a lot of times. Tech sales, you know, in the past 4 to 5 years, it's been a new phrase in the African space. We've always known sales as a thing, but you know, even when I had it the first time about was it 5, 6 years ago, I was like, which one is tech sales? Because I've always been doing sales. I've done sales in real estate, I've done in automobile, I've done in some other sectors. I'm like, what's this one? Is it another scam? But I came to start learning about it. I understood that you know, how you sell software products is totally different from how you sell real estate. It's different from how you sell automobiles. So in a nutshell, tech sales basically means a coordinated way of selling technology products, right? And tech sales for me is divided into 3. One, you have the service-oriented tech sales, which is more like people that fix and maintain tech products, whether physical or virtual. And you have the other part that is more of the hardware. For some of us are in Lagos, people that sell phones in Alaba or Computer Village. They are tech sales people, but it's just that they do it in a hardware form, right? Everything they sell is technology: phones, gadgets, tablets, you know, CCTVs. All those things are tech products, right? They're also doing tech sales. However, what we're focused on is a third area, which is software sales. It's all about tech products we can't see with our physical eyes. We can only access them through portals. It's only with the aid of a computer or a phone or other devices that we can access such products. So there are platforms on the web, right, on the cloud that we can't see with our physical eyes. Those ones are softwares. So it's true, tech sales is more like the family name. Then when you start branching it out, you have software sales, you have, you know, services, people that fix and maintain all those physical tech products and also virtual tech products, right? And then you also have the software sales space. So basically, tech sales is all about finding a problem and bringing a tech solution that solves that problem. So there has to be a problem, and there has to be a tech solution that solves that problem. Bring them together, and that's basically what tech is all about. We also talked about last time some skills you need if you want to start a career in tech sales. Unlike other aspects of tech industry where you probably need to learn how to code, how to use a particular tool, it's not exactly like that in tech sales. You might need to leverage your existing skills, communication, problem solving, and maybe go a step further by learning how to use 1 or 2 CRMs. That could set you up, and then it could sharpen your writing skills and your speaking skills, because you need to do some sort of writing emails and then speaking with customers on the phone. With that, you can actually start looking out for roles and building your career in tech sales. So this was just a nutshell of what we discussed the last time. But today we want to do a little go deeper into what we discussed. And just going to have to share my screen right now. Okay.
Just to add this caveat, before he continues, if you have questions, you can write them down, you can drop them on the chat. You know, we're going to take questions in the end, but please, you know, have your questions ready so that when we start, you can, you know, ask your questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. All right, so so I want to go deeper. So this is just a brief overview of who I am. I've been doing sales for quite some time. And I founded this because I love sharing knowledge. I love helping people. And I've over the years, I've helped about 300. I've shared about this knowledge about 300 people and counting. And then this is the fourth bullet point there. We're launching a new product by next month. This is actually the first time I'm announcing this in public. You won't see it any other place. So yeah, we're launching a new product that would help. In fact, I will give everyone here hopefully free access for maybe a month or 2. Everyone in the tech sales community, hopefully, especially people that are right here. This is the first time I'm saying this. I've been working on it for the past 6 months. It's been difficult, but I think we are making some sort of progress. So I'll drop the domain of the platform we're launching. It's still focused on helping, client-facing professionals like you and I. So we want to see how we could go a little bit beyond just sales, but we're leveraging AI heavily. However, we'll still not eliminate the fact that there's still need for human interaction. So there will still be some elements of human interaction. However, it will be heavily on leveraging artificial intelligence to support salespeople like you and I. Okay. The product hopefully will be ready by May 2025, and I'm just trying to let you guys know now, right? But before the end of the this conversation, I will share the domain and probably a lot more about that. All right, so our focus today will be on 3 areas. We want to look into advanced insights into tech sales, strategies for breaking into the field, and then we'll talk about tools and techniques for success. So what actually makes tech sales unique?
Okay, so I wanted to tell you to just cancel the video so that we can see.
Okay. So yeah, let's just push it down because sometimes people might raise their hand and I might not get to see it. Okay.
That's why I'm here. I'll help you. That's why I'm here.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So there's been a lot of buzz about tech sales. I hope I'm not exaggerating, but I think there has been. But then again, sometimes it's difficult for people to really pinpoint what's so special about this tech sales of a thing, right? For me, 3 things are special about it. Number 1 is innovative product. Month in, month out, quarter in, quarter out, year in, year out. There's a lot of new tech products coming up, new things being, founded, developed. So ability to be able to push that to the market, those innovative, beautiful, amazing products that solve problems. For me, that's one of the things that make it unique. And the second one is client education. Most times you're in the forefront of educating. Some people don't even know they have a problem that your solution could solve. In fact, there are sometimes you would need to talk to someone and help the person actually understand that this thing that they have in their company is actually a problem, and this is how to solve it. So the education around the client education around tech sales is actually another thing that makes it unique. Unlike some other products that this is a known problem, you just need to offer it, and it's always readily accepted. But sometimes it's not always the same in tech sales. So you need to do some education, help them understand why they need to actually solve this problem and get it off their table. And then the third one is collaborative approach. I've always been saying this, and I firmly believe in it. Unlike some other, careers in tech, where you could always do your thing in silo, just stay somewhere, even if you work remotely in one corner of your room or somewhere and just be doing your thing. Example, the developers, some of them don't just like interaction with people, just tell them what to do and they just do it in their computer and send it to you, right? It's not like that in tech sales. So it's not advisable to work in silo, do your thing alone. You have to collaborate with others. You want to discuss with others. You want to find out what's working for others and incorporate it into what you do. Okay, so and the ability to also work with technical and non-technical teams will also help you. Sometimes when you sell products that are very technical, you need to once in a while chat with the product or technical teams to understand what you're actually selling and what makes it different. That also makes tech sales unique. So the sales funnel in tech sales, right? It's quite similar to other areas in sales, other types of sales, but I was able to summarize it in 3 ways. The awareness, which has to do with reaching out to the customers via a phone call or via an email, right? And then the second one is consideration. You have to, sometimes you rarely get someone that just says yes to learning more about your products. So most times you have to answer their questions, follow up on them, to get them to want to have more conversation with you. And then the third one is decision, closing the deals and onboarding the clients, right? And then let's do a little comparison between tech sales and traditional sales so that we could understand a lot better why this is a special kind of sales. The first one is complex solutions. So because you're selling tech, you're not selling crayfish, you're not selling real estate. It's quite simple, right? I have a land here, I have a house here. Is this kind of house? Is this kind of house? And that's it. But in tech sales, because you're selling a solution, because you're selling a platform, it's different. So you need to be able to show them, you need to explain certain things, you need to sometimes give them trials, free trials to test out what you build and know if it's really what they want. So that's one thing that makes it different from other kind of sales. The second thing is sales cycle. You know, it has longer cycles. Let me still fall back on the example I used earlier in the first one, real estate. All right, this is the land. This is where it is. This is the document. That's all. When will you buy? Can I pay in installment? Or I'm not ready now, maybe next month. Or, you know, next week we'll start up. It's just simple, more like black and white. This is it, this is it. But in tech sales, it's longer, right? And the reason why it's longer is not far-fetched, because the person you might be speaking to might not be, even if he has the decision-making capabilities, he still needs to loop in other members of the leadership team. So it makes it longer, right? He needs to speak with this person, you know, ask this person. They need to have probably an internal meeting. So it's longer. Sometimes it takes, depending on the product, it could take 2 months, 3 months. Some even have longer sales cycle up to 4, 5, 6 months. Yes, you have products that are like that. Okay, so because of how long the sales cycle is, you know, weeks and months, it makes it different from traditional sales. Traditional sales is, this is the product, this is the price, you pay, we give you. It's that simple. But that's not the same with tech sales. Even if they've identified, oh, we have this problem, oh yes, we need to solve it, and we think we want to go with your product, it still takes some steps, right? Before they now, you know, sign papers and pay, right? And sometimes as they are considering your product, they're also considering other products as well. And then the third one is data driven. So it relies heavily on metrics and analytics, right? What kind of companies have we sold our software to in times past? Have we sold more of our software to companies that are still smaller or companies that are bigger? So over the years, if you've noticed that you've sold more of your products or your software or your platform to companies that are smaller, you tend to rely heavily on that data and lean towards only companies that are smaller. That's one thing. And if you've noticed that, okay, in recent times, companies that are bigger are coming for us now. So it's data driven. You now rely more on decisions are not made blindly in tech sales. Right? So these are some of, and if you're bothering, am I the ones to make those decisions at this moment? No, you're not. When you're starting out in tech sales, there are a lot of decisions you actually don't make. Your managers, your directors, your VPs are people that make those decisions, and then you need to execute. So if you're thinking, am I the person that will do? No, most times you're not the person to make the decisions, right? But I'm just giving you guys an overview of actually how it works. All right, so earlier I told you in our first session last year, we talked about a couple of things that you need to know if you want to start and grow a career in tech sales. And one of the things I mentioned was your ability to use certain tools, right? And number one, these tools are not difficult to learn. They're very easy. And you just need to dedicate time. Some of these tools have free trials. The first one is CRM systems, right? There are a lot of CRMs we have, but the most popular ones and most used ones are about 3. We have Salesforce, we have Outreach, and we have HubSpot. Another one that is coming out really strong is the one called Instantly. So it's not a must you know how to use all these CRMs. If you know how to use all of them, that's beautiful. However, it is a must that you know how to use at least one. At least one. I know some of us may have used other CRMs in the past, but in a core software sales environment, you need to use at least one among the top four. Yeah, this four: Salesforce, Outreach, and HubSpot. Just know how to use one among these four. It's easy for you to pick up the other ones if there's a difference in what you the ones that the company wants to employ you use. Quite easy. For example, if you know how to use Salesforce, it's easy for you to just learn how to use HubSpot. Same thing with Outreach and maybe instantly. But one thing I want to assure you is these tools are not difficult to learn. They're really not difficult. It's not a technical tool. You just need to know how to, launch emails with these tools, how to update data, how to make calls with these tools. That's really the basic thing. Other things you could learn on the fly, and you could ask your teammates, right? In fact, HubSpot gives about 14-day free trial. So you could, if you've not used any CRM before in your life, you just go to HubSpot.com, sign up with your Gmail, and use the 14-day free trial to just play around, get your hands dirty, try things, understand the interface, click the buttons, and then you might understand at least the foundational knowledge of how to use the CRM. Second one is communication tools. This one is simple. You don't even need anybody to teach you this. Most of us have used all these tools: Slack, Google Sheets, Zoom. These things they're common tools we use a lot. We're using Google Meet now, right? You don't need someone to teach you this, right? And Loom and Vidyard for videos. So sometimes when you're selling software solutions, you might need to just record a few seconds video and send to someone you're trying to reach out to, just so that you could help the person place a face to the person that has been emailing or calling him, right? This also helps in the process. So, and it's very easy to use. Loom is free, Vidyard is free. You could just sign up and just play around with it as well. Then the third one is sales automation. Now, 3 years ago, this really wasn't a thing, sales automation. But in the past 2 years, 3 years, and 3 years, it's been really a huge thing, sales automation, whereby the manual tasks you do in sales, especially emails, prospecting, which is one of the things that takes time for salespeople. When I say prospecting, I mean finding out the people you want to talk to about your product. That's what it means. Just find, okay, who do I talk to? That is a prospecting process. Getting their names, getting all those things about them, information about them. It's a cumbersome process. It's time consuming. And after you found it, reaching out to those people, sending them emails, following up on them is also, Herculean task. So recently there have been tools that have been developed to automate those processes. You just need to click some buttons, create some tables, and then launch the emails. For calls as well, for emails, you could use platforms like Clay. So in fact, if you want to, I advise people now, if you want to bypass tech sales, there's a shortcut for tech sales now. Just go and learn how to use this tool called Clay. You'll get a pretty decent job. I'll pay you between 2-3K, right? So it's a very good hack. It doesn't matter where you are, and they are highly sought after. So if you really want to build a career in tech sales and you want to bypass, you want to follow shortcuts, sharp, go and learn how to use this Clay of a tool. And there are a lot of companies springing up now trying to teach people how to use the platform alone. And then for this is heavily for emails. For calls, instead of making calls manually, dialing numbers, clicking dialing numbers one after the other, there are also automation tools, call them dialers, that makes it easy for you to dial like 100 numbers in a space of 45 minutes, or 200 numbers in a space of maybe 80 minutes or 90 thereabouts. So these things actually make the work a lot easier, a lot stressful, and more entertaining. And now I'm not saying you should learn all these tools. You could just pick one. You could, in under sales automation, you could just pick one. This one, highly recommended. It's not a must you know how to use all these tools. All right. Okay. Then building a tech sales career. Well, this is actually an important aspect of our conversation, because I know a lot of people that ask me, okay, how do we actually start? Right. I know what it is. I know, but and it's not uncommon for you to ask that question. In fact, sometimes you have the right information, but what's the next step? It's a very simple yet big question that some people try to figure out. Okay, we've had this. What is the next step? What do we do? So for some of you, you might need to. There are some people that are very fast in learning. Right, from this conversation, I might even do some research on their own, learn some things, craft probably a new resume tailored for tech sales, and they are good to go. However, there's still some people that need a structured way of actually learning. They need you to teach them, okay, from this point, even probably start from scratch, what is tech sales, and then move on to the next one and the next one, more like a structured way of learning, right? I think lately I'm becoming, I don't know whether it's because of age, I'm becoming one of that person that wants a structured way of learning. It wasn't like that a few years ago. I'm like, you tell me what to do, I just go and figure it out. But nowadays, I think I want something a bit more structured and more organized. So for some of you, you actually don't need certifications, but a lot of people that want, oh, we need something to actually prove to people that we can do this. You could basically maybe get a free you could sign up on HubSpot Academy, learn a couple of things about sales and how to use the HubSpot tool, and then they'll give you a certification. You could do a boot camp like the one we offer. You could actually get a training boot camp on Salesforce admin. That's also a good area. That could actually help you. However, there are people that start a career that don't even have certification, which is not something uncommon in tech sales. Nobody gives a shit about what certification you have. People that don't even have a college degree, and they're actually doing very well in tech sales. So it depends on you and what you want. If you're the kind of person that you want a certification to always back what you have, it's not bad. You could, and probably you want a structured way of learning, you could probably try a boot camp, right? You could also try other certifications related to tech sales. Right. And then another area that you might want to leverage is mentorship, which is one beautiful thing about TSN, which I love. You get to meet people that can point you in the right direction. And I like the fact that this is going to be a monthly thing. So you get to ask more questions, get more clarity, and learn from more experienced professionals. And then third one is industry knowledge. You need to know what is happening in the tech space at every point in time. In fact, that will even help you. You need to know, you need to read a lot. Like when I mean read, I'm not saying always read big books or something like that. Even if you read big books, it's not a bad idea, like sales books. Maybe like the one that was, there was this book about cold calling. The title is Cold Calling Sucks, and That's Why It Works. That book is powerful. You can even get it on Amazon. Right, it teaches you everything about cold calling. In fact, if you can make cold calls, you actually one step closer to getting a tech sales job. So you can read those books, but how you could also stay up to date on what is happening in the tech space. You could sign up on maybe Tech Cabal or TechCrunch. Read about startups. Things that they're doing, products that are being launched, the kind of products they are. Things of that nature. So it keeps you informed, it keeps you updated, what is happening in the tech scene. All right. Do we have any questions before we move on? Do we have any questions we need to trash before we continue? Or do we leave it till the end of the okay, let's continue then. Now, what are the top traits of tech salespeople? What makes someone a good salesperson?
Hi, Peter.
The first one, like, is resilience.
Can
Tech
you hear
sales is
me?
not easy. It's tough. It could be sweet. It could also be tough as
Hi,
well.
Chika.
So
Thought
your
you was trying.
ability to thrive under
Chika, can you
pressure,
hear?
bounce back
Oh, can you hear
when you're
any?
getting punched in
I
the
thought it was my
face.
network.
I'm not saying literally, you know what I mean. So your ability to stay resilient and keep going even when you're probably not getting the right results you want would really help you. So you're gonna get a lot of rejections, people telling you fuck off, people telling you I'm not interested, people threatening you, I'll sue you, stop emailing me, things of that. I'm not trying to frighten anyone, but I'm telling you some of the things that I've experienced. So staying resilient could be and some people are not born being resilient. Some people are not, it's not a trait they have right from time, but you can develop resilience. You can develop a tough skin, something you can learn, something you can build, you can cultivate. So um, people are not always born with it. And the third one is empathy. And this is crucial because you need to understand the needs of the people you're selling to before you can even try to solve it. So trying to put yourself in the shoes of the people you're selling to would actually go a long way to, um, you know, help you thrive. In fact, it's one of the most important qualities as a salesperson, empathy. You need to have this innate desire to help. That's the thing. And a lot of people I've had conversation with about the reason why probably they started a career in literally any client interfacing role. So any role that involves interaction with customers or prospects. Most people always share that the reason why they love doing it is because they want to help people, which is a very good thing, right? So if you're empathetic, if you have the desire to sort things out, assist someone, figure things out, solve problems, you know, sales might be a good thing for you. And then the third one is growth mindset, because you need to constantly learn, you need to constantly improve. Okay, let me give you a typical example. If you're a salesperson, you're selling to a lot of prospect, a lot of companies. You need to learn what that company does quickly so that you'll be able to tailor what you're telling them, the message you're passing them to them, tailor how the problems they have to how your solution can help solve those problems. So it's something you need to do as fast as possible. You could look them up. Okay, maybe I'm selling to ABC company, and I'm selling to XYZ company, and I'm selling to TYY company, right? What does this company do? In a few minutes, you're able to run out, okay, this is what they do, this is the problem they might be having. So you're able to do that with all the companies that you're selling to. So your ability to learn as fast as possible would really help for you to do very well in this space. And you want to constantly improve because you always get feedback. The feedback you get might come from your teammates, your peers, your managers. It could be on a monthly basis, it could be on a quarterly basis. So this feedback, it could even be on a daily basis. This feedback you get, you don't want to say, why are you critiquing my work? Why are you tackling me? You want to take it in good faith. You want to implement it. You want to iterate and keep going. So that's what we mean by growth mindset. So if you're someone that gets offended when you're told what the right way to do something, I don't know how you cope with this. You might need to change that kind of attitude or perception for you to flourish in tech sales. Okay, and then let's move on to metrics. This is another important area in tech sales. Metrics, super important. How are you evaluated? What shows that you're doing well in tech sales? The first thing is quota attainment. A lot of people are scared of sales because of quota or target, as some people may call it. So the percentage of your target that you achieve would go a long way to show how you're doing. So you want to, and the thing is, if you're putting the right effort, it will reflect on your quota attainment. It does not mean that there are people that don't put in effort and don't get the results. There are. I'm not even going to mince words because I've seen a lot of things in this space. There are people that actually put a lot of effort, do the right things, but the results don't come. In such situations, it's actually not your problem. It's just probably the market or the product, right, that is behaving funny. However, if every other people in the team are actually, attaining a reasonable percentage of their quota and you're not, you might want to find out what the problem might be. So quota attainment is one sales metrics that you want to watch out for, you want to look out for when you're in the role. So some companies might tell you, okay, we evaluate quota based on quarters, right? Quarterly, which is the most beautiful way of evaluating quotas for me. I think that's the best way. Instead of doing it monthly, do it in quarters. Let's say, you're given a quota of, it depends. Some companies might do quota based on meetings, and some might do based on volume of sales. It depends on the kind of company, right? So depending on the quota, the criteria for the quota they've set, they might say, you know what, we're evaluated based in quarters, like January to March, right? And then they check the quota, and then April to June. So it's done in quarters. You know that if you finish the one in March, the next one will be after 3 months. I think that's the right way to do it because it gives the salesperson enough time. So even if probably you didn't do well in month 1, you want to fight to do well in month 2 and probably cover up in month 3. However, there are some other companies that do quotas monthly. Okay, every month you have a certain quota to meet. It could be that you're given a quota of booking, let's say 10 meetings. All right. But the more difficult it is to book a meeting for a product, the lesser the target ideally should be. The second one is pipeline coverage, so opportunities versus target. So that you book a meeting might not mean. So the goal of, maybe I should have said it a bit earlier, the goal why you're selling as a starter, as a beginner in tech sales, would be to book appointments. And I know a couple of you might know about this, right? So in a very organized company and sales environment, the roles are split. The person that reaches out to book an appointment ideally should not be the one to take the meeting. However, there are some companies, especially in Africa, that might need you to do the full cycle. So you reach out, you book the appointment, and you close the deal. So we call them full cycle salespeople. So I think it helps. Every way the company does theirs has merits and demerits. So if you're someone that do the full cycle, it means you can actually adapt no matter the situation you find yourself. You can do the prospecting, you can even run demos. So you could actually apply for a job to probably run a demo as an account executive or things of that sort. So the goal while you're actually reaching out to prospect is to book a meeting. That's the goal. So one metric that is also used to evaluate how you're performing is to check, okay, you booked, let's say 10 meetings. Out of those 10 meetings, how many of them can actually move, right, into the next phase? How many of them are qualified meetings? Qualification means how many of them have that problem that our solutions solve? How many of them would love to move forward? How many of them did we have fruitful conversation with that wants us to proceed to the next stage? That's what we mean by qualification or opportunities, right? And then the third one is conversion. Those people that moved forward, how many of them ended up buying from us? So these are the metrics that are used to evaluate how someone is performing. Okay, so I don't want you to dwell so much on this, okay, but you should have an idea of how it works. Now, Common tech sales mistakes. The first one is overcomplicating, right? This works in different ways. Overcomplicating when it comes to even learning what tech sales is. There are a lot of people that use a lot of ambiguous and buzzwords when they're trying to help people start something, right? For example, I'm sure by now, even if you were not in the first session we had last year, you have an idea of what text is all about. Why? Probably because I'm trying. I know some words that I use might still be buzzword, but I'm trying to see how I can break it down. So even when you're learning tech sales, one of the challenges you might have is like maybe someone training you or guiding you is overcomplicating the whole process and making it very difficult for you to even understand it. And even when you get into the role, overcomplicating could also involve not trying to speak or communicate the problems you're solving in the simplest way possible. Sometimes it might be because the solution you're selling, it has a lot of features and benefits. In such situation, you don't want to start outlining all the features, all the benefits that your solution has. Look for the basic one, the foundational one. Right? If your solution solves 5, 7 problems, pick 2 or 3. Don't use the 7 and hit them on the face via email or phone call. You'll just be hurting your chances of having that person want to learn more about what you do. So make it very simple, okay? If there are words that are peculiar to your industry, use a different word that is simple, something easy for them to understand. Leave the big words, leave the buzzword, leave the ambiguous words for you people when you're discussing within yourselves, but translate what the problems you're solving in very simple, short forms that is easy for them to grab. So when you're overcomplicating things, when you're selling, you might be selling a good product, you might be solving a problem that is important, but they can't understand you, they can't relate. So you want to try to simplify whatever you do. Always simplify. The second one is ignoring pain points. Remember what we said earlier when we were starting, when we did an overview of what we learned in the first session we had last year. I explained in a very simple form what tech sales is. Finding a problem and bringing a solution that solves that problem. That's what it is. So when you're selling your solution, you want to actually talk about the problems. Leave the solutions first at the initial time. So you're speaking about the problems, either via emails or phone call, to find out if that person you're talking to has those problems. When the person you're talking to has those problems, then it's easy for you to pull that person. So if you're speaking about a problem, the person, oh yeah, I've actually experienced this, or we've been struggling with this problem for quite some time. I want to learn more. That's actually, when, a conversation might end up happening. And who knows, they might now proceed to, oh, you actually solved the problem. Let's talk about how you could help us solve that problem. So you don't want to just shove your products in your mouth and, oh, we do this, we do that, we do that. No, you want to, in fact, this is the most simplest way to understand tech sales or flourish in tech. Present the problems to them. Oh, I don't know if you're facing problem A or problem B or problem C. Oh, we notice companies in your space is facing problem A, problem C, problem B, problem C. Are you facing that? Would you want to talk about it? Right? That way, it's easy for you to, connect with them. And then the third one is weak follow-up. This is one major mistake a lot of people make. And sometimes I get it. It's not easy, like we said. You have a lot of people to follow up. You have a lot of things in your head. sometimes the task you have on your table is a lot. So it might lead you to, not following up or following up quickly. And the truth of the matter is most people would not, most prospects would not immediately accept to have a conversation with you. A lot of them, right? They might read and, oh, they can relate to it, but they might just not respond at that first instance. The magic works when you continually follow up on them. Okay, that's when the magic works. In fact, if you reach out to them the first time and they say yes, easy. Like, so to us, it's good, but it's a bit what's the right word? It's kind of, because it's not something we see often. We're surprised. I reached out to someone the first time, the person said yes. We like it because it saves us the stress of following up. However, because it's not something we always experience, it's like, are you sure we're actually reaching out to the right person or something like that? So one thing you want to learn as you start and grow your role as a tech salesperson is to constantly be if you're good with following up on people. Some people will just probably want to hear you out because, of course, we don't want to sound like we're bugging, or we're not bugging them, we're not disturbing them, but we want to follow up in a systematic way to also show the person we respect them and stuff like that, and give sufficient gaps. Could be 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 business days in between before we follow up. But we want to have it at the back of our mind that one of the things that makes us good and standard as salespeople is following up the right way. And now this is advanced prospecting techniques, ways we could basically take it a step further when we want to flourish as tech salesperson. Social selling, we want to leverage LinkedIn to connect with them, reach out to them, like their posts, comment on their posts. That's social selling. Sometimes we drop posts about what we are selling about and about the problems that we solve. It could actually generate some leads for us. We also want to ask for referrals. If we're trying to penetrate into an account or a particular company, we want to check, do I have anybody that I'm connected with on LinkedIn that probably is connected with someone in that company? Can I ask for referrals? Can I ask, how well do you know this person? Would you mind putting in a word for me? I'm trying to talk to their maybe CFO or CEO or anybody in their team. That could also help you. And then you also want to research and tailor your messages according to the person you're reaching out to. One thing you always encounter is objections. You always face objections. You always face questions. People are not just going to give you that money. They'll push back at you. They'll probably share price concerns. They might even tell you they are using a particular competitor, things of that sort. So you also want to be prepared so that you'll be able to address those objections. Objections are good. It shows that you're hitting the right places. But one thing that will help you is having, ready-made answers that you'd always adjust to fit in any scenario when handling objections. Okay, so don't feel bad when you see objections or when you experience them. Just be more prepared to handle them. And then leveraging tech sales for career growth. So, excuse me. Currently, you might not be doing sales, but you want to move into sales. So you want to look at transferable skills. There are some good skills you have already that are related to tech sales. Maybe communication, analysis, negotiation. Those might come in handy in tech sales. Okay. So have you led a team before? It could also help leadership opportunities. It could, show that you're capable of doing amazing things as well. So have you worked in certain industries that you want to probably move into a new industry, or you want to stay in that new industry, but you want to change roles? That could also be one thing that would help you to start and grow in tech sales. So what's the next step for you? Build a portfolio of sales skills and certifications, right? If there are skills I've mentioned now that you feel that you don't have, you might want to build it up. If you think you need certifications, you might want to get one. You want to start networking with tech professionals, right? Connect with salespeople, read their posts, learn from them. A lot of things I've been learning these days is really not from some sort of certification. I also learn from posts, right? Posts of other salespeople, how they do it, right? And then I learn, sometimes I bookmark it, I try to read it, I try to see how I can replicate that into what I do. And then the third one is apply for, don't feel bad, apply for give it a shot. All right, apply for the role with a tailored resume and cover letter, right? And if you probably want to, if you feel there are some gaps you need and you need a structured way of learning, just let us know. I will be glad to assist in that area. All right, so I could share this slide with you guys if you need it, and yeah. So that's it. Let's take questions now.
Thank you so much, Chika. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Chika, can you hear me? If not, when people ask
I don't
questions, you'll
think
be
we can
able to
hear
hear.
you.
No, I think can any other
We
person
can
hear
hear
me?
you.
I can hear you.
Can someone
Yes,
else hear me?
I can hear.
Okay,
Yes,
so
we can
Chika,
hear you.
I can hear you.
you need to maybe remove the headset. Because they can hear me. And can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you from my.
Yeah, no, but Chika can't hear me yet. Chika, can you hear me? Do you want to go off and come back?
I can hear you now.
Thank God. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I was trying to say something the first time when you asked if we had questions, but
Oh.
yeah, I
But
understand.
did you guys hear me?
Yes, we heard you. We heard you 100%. It's totally fine. Thank you so much. I know somebody's hand was raised, but I just wanted to ask, you spoke about clay. I know they're pretty expensive, but do they have a free version?
So Clay has a university. Let me see if I can find it. They have yeah, it's pretty expensive, and sometimes a lot of people can't afford it for us. So they have a university, self-paced. Let me get it. Let me see if I used to have the link sometime ago. They have a
Okay.
university where you could start learning, like you could start learning on your own. Before you can, maybe if you think you have some gaps, you can now. Yeah, I've seen the link. I'll just drop it on the chat. Then if you
Okay.
need some help, you can now reach out to. So you can start here, right? Start here gradually, step by step. This could give you a foundational knowledge of it, which is not bad.
Okay, thank you so much. So thank you so much, Chika, for this session. This was really awesome, and I enjoyed. I don't know the slide. It was really neat and beautiful. So thank you so much. I know Gertrude had a question the last time you wanted to ask a question. So Gertrude, do you want to go first before every other person starts asking their questions?
Mine is not exactly a question, but there was a time Chika mentioned 2K to 3K or something like that. I needed him to be specific on the currency he was talking about so that we don't confuse people. But yeah.
Okay. So what I meant by that was, I said if you learn clay, that you could get a job, a decent sales job as maybe a GTM engineer, pay you 2-3K, which is pretty decent for someone that is starting. So that's what I meant. So I didn't mean what you pay. Yes, you could even, to learn clay from a lot of boot camps, you should be looking around $4K, right? But in fact, like if you're a fast learner, The university will give you what you need at a base level to start.
Okay.
And then you could start seeking out GTM engineer roles
Okay.
and sales job, right? Because anybody you share that you could use Clay on the base level, you could do this or that on Clay. The person knows that you might need a couple of more trainings, but it just gives you an edge. It changes a lot of landscape. It's a lot of things about you. And
No.
yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned dollars because I needed people to understand that you're also talking about dollars, not naira.
Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Sandra, your hand is up.
Okay. My question is still about this clay. Okay. Good. Talking about the university, do you need money to still register to get the basic knowledge on the clay? And what will you need?
You're mute, Chika.
Okay, sorry. So what? Yes, you don't need to pay for the university, it's free, right? But you might be in a better position to understand Clay if you've mastered how tech sales works. It doesn't mean that you cannot jump the gun. However, you'll be just like someone that knows how to ride a motorcycle. Most times it's somewhat easier for you to learn how to probably ride maybe a tricycle or maybe now drive a car. They are both machines. They have similarities. So it's easy for you to count 2 when you've counted 1. It's easy for you to count 3 when you've counted 2. It does not mean that someone that cannot ride bicycle, motorcycle, tricycle cannot just go and learn car. People do that regularly now. However, that person that can do this other area and now do this is in a better position. It better understands the reasons behind certain things, the framework behind certain things. So you're well-rounded. You're in a better position to actually know, why there might be words that might be used in the Clay University, for example, enrichment. And you don't really understand how tech sales work. You'll be wondering, what is enrichment? However, if you've learned tech sales, if you understand a lot about, you exactly know that enrichment means adding data that is missing in the prospect. So that's why if you feel you have a strong hands-on experience or learning on tech sales, just go ahead and start up. But if you feel that you're not just strong on how tech sales works in entirety, you might struggle for you to get understand how Clay works and basically use it. Does that answer your question?
Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Just to add to what he's saying, so Clay is a very advanced software, for example, and very expensive. For example, in my company, we use Clay not only to get enrichment, we also use Clay to find, for example, if I'm working a particular account, we use it to find the competitors to the accounts that are customers. So Clay is mind-blowing. So if you learn the basics, it's really, really okay. Unless you want to go into, say, sales ops or revenue ops, then you want to go deep dive or GTM engineering, Chika mentioned. So even if it's just this topics I'm seeing on the Clay University, this free ones is really, really good. It's a very good place to start. Tomiwa, your hand is up.
Yes. Thank you so much, Chika. That's been a wonderful section so far. So my question, because I'm bringing back to the basics. So I want to ask, because like you said, for newbies, most of the things you get to do are like prospecting and all. So is there like some other what's it called, prospecting tools that you can share that we might look out? Because like you said, clay is more like a advanced stuff. So if you're taking it a step at a time, are there some, what's it called, prospecting tools that you can share with us that we might look out and or find a way of learning on how to use them? So that's what I want to ask.
Sure, good question, Tomiwa. So, like the basic one and the most popular one is Apollo. You know, that's, I don't know if you've used it, but it's always our go-to. You know, it's always like it's been there for many years. It's still there. So it's the most popular one. Is they give you a lot of free stuff if you're just learning and you don't have some money to pay. They give you. I learned with Apollo. A lot of people I teach, we teach with Apollo. So you know, if you just want to learn, know how to prospect, know how to use certain tools, it's always Apollo for me. There are a lot of other ones there. Yeah, exactly. So there are a lot of other ones there, but to me, it's still a good tool to learn with. It will help you understand everything about prospecting, data enrichment, everything basically. So you could start with that. Sign up on Apollo with your Gmail, play around it, and if you need a structured way to do it, just let us know. We'll be able to plug you in. Did I answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you did. Yes, you did. And then the final part that you said, if I need a structure where you'll be able to plug me, I think that's also a good one that you mentioned there. So thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll share the slides. I'll share this slide. Send it with to your team, and they will share with you guys, and it will give you everything you need. And yeah.
Yeah. So Apollo is our go-to. Is our saving grace. Munachi, I mistakenly lowered your hands. Can you go?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chika. Unfortunately, I joined late, and first of all, I'm happy you share the slides. Then I know this meeting is recorded. I wanted to confirm if it will be shared on the Slack channel so we can, listen, and in case we have any questions, we can drop our questions there.
But
Then,
the
yeah,
YouTube shared. It's going to be on YouTube.
okay, but you would drop the
It's going
link.
to be,
But you drop.
yeah, sure, of course.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes, we can drop in the channels.
Yeah, okay. Like I mentioned earlier, I joined in it so, but for someone, me, I've been doing sales for like 6 years, but not tech sales. So I don't know if you spoke about that in like how someone can like easily reason. I know I've taken some tech sales courses and all of that, but I don't know if you touched something like that when you are presenting. If you can just briefly like refresh. That's just that.
Okay, so you've done sales for 6 years. I don't know the industry or sector you've done sales.
Okay.
However,
All right.
go
No,
on.
no, you talked about industry. I wanted to highlight that, but you can
Well,
go on.
you could tell us what industry.
Oh, okay. So I did tech, but not like how everyone is doing it now. It was more of like physical outbound prospecting, right?
Okay.
Then now I'm doing it was in tech. Then I did IT basically. We're working with telcos, Huawei, MTN, and all of that. Then, but what we're selling was ATM softwares,
Okay.
hardware softwares for, so that was that. Then now I'm doing like for supply chain industry, and most of my sales I do outbound, but mostly I'll call it 80% inbound and 20% outbound. So that's just that, but not like using the tools like Apollo, Lusha, and the rest. So that's where the confusion is, and the terms within the um what they call the ecosystem, tech sales ecosystem. So that's where the challenge is. So that's that.
All right. So basically, there are some principles you've already been doing in your past 6 years in sales that also apply in tech sales. However, you might need to learn. You said you've done some tech sales course. I don't know how. I don't know I don't know what you were taught, but I'm just gonna share that a couple of things at the end of the course you've ever done. You should know basically, like for example, using a couple of tools like Apollo, understanding how CRMs work, because you said you did a lot of outbound physical prospecting. I don't know how
Yeah.
much of CRM you used when you were doing that. You need to understand how to use certain CRMs. In fact, we live in CRMs. If you're doing software sales, almost everything you do is always in CRMs, right? Almost everything. Even other tools that you use, for example, Apollo, most of them are integrated with CRMs. LinkedIn
Okay.
sales analytics. Every CRM is like, for example, if you work remotely, if you just wake up, check your inbox, the next thing you move to is your CRM. Everything you basically do is around the CRMs. So I don't know how much of the CRM you actually learned how to do, because of course you did physical products. You were more of out there in the field, interacting with customers and generating leads. So I don't know how much about that. So number one, there are some things you already know in sales that can apply to tech sales. Understand that. All your experience is not irrelevant. Number two, you need to get hands-on learning on a couple of these tools. Because it's tech sales, we are heavily reliant on tools, right? That's what helps. And these tools, like I said earlier, they're not difficult to learn. All you need to do is to focus, someone that points you in the right direction, do this, do that, and then you can run along. And number three, maybe some of your interpersonal skills like communication, ability to speak with someone on the phone, ability to write good emails. You might need to polish that. With these three areas, I think you should be in a better position to pivot into tech sales.
Okay. Then just to, and I just have the last question, please.
Mhm.
So most or to a certain extent, when
Mhm.
you talk about sales, it could be like, let me say, highly remote. Do you understand? So, just like prospecting for someone that have not written cold emails before and all of that. So for someone like me that is getting into it, and I've been mostly offline, so getting into it, or the challenges someone would face, like getting into it, like working virtually or remotely, what would be your advice for someone who, okay, possibly if I get a job and all of that, how do you think like someone would just easily breathe into that, or like conquer those first few challenges in the first few weeks, like
Before you
during
even
assessments, meetings and all of that, so it could be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, good question too. One thing you need to know is change is constant. And when you start something, you always, if you're, I don't know, if you're willing to put in the effort, you will learn, right? A lot of people, there are people that don't even know how to on a computer, and yet they learn how to start, how to do a couple of things. So it's all about putting in the effort, practicing a lot, asking questions, putting, of course, while you're holding on to the job you have now, dedicating some time on a daily or weekly basis to learn about what you're moving into, being willing to unlearn the things you've ever known before. There might be things that you know before that might be wrong. Your willingness to unlearn them, your willingness to learn new tools, your willingness to dedicate time every day to constantly improve would help you to move, right? I'm not saying it's gonna be easy the first time when you pivot, because there will be some hiccups. But over time, because you're already a salesperson, you already have some of those skills in you, it will be easy for you to make progress.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. So just to add a little bit to what he's saying, I also transitioned from like traditional sales to tech sales. And I totally understand sometimes it's kind of like difficult, to move from what you physically do, and also speaking to, say, some people. For example, if you get like foreign roles, you have to speak to people in like different continents and with different accents and everything. So you would learn, you have like the basic things that you need. If you've been in sales for 6 years, you definitely have like, whatever it takes to, and the tenacity you need to succeed. So you'll be fine. That's what I want to say. I'm sure you will.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have more questions? I know that we are 60 minutes, above time, but if you have more questions, I'm sure Chika is very much happy to answer them. Meanwhile, yeah, Jackson, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is my first time actually attending a meeting on sales of all kind, either traditional or tech. So my question is this: what's the first direction you'd like to point me to? Since I have interest, like this is actually my first time, I have interest. So what's the first direction or the first step you'd advise me to take? Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah, I heard you loud and clear. Good question. To answer that question, I want to ask a question. Are you already a salesperson? What's your background?
And just few experiences, not really.
What are you
No
currently
more.
doing?
Okay, I'm just an interior designer. I'm an interior
Okay.
designer.
What? Okay. Now, um, why do you want to learn sales? Do you want to learn sales because you want to do better in interior design, or you want to change completely from interior designing to a career in sales? Because they are two different things. Are you
Yes,
looking at,
yeah.
okay, you want to pick skills that will help you do well in interior designing, or you want to leave interior designing and move completely to tech sales? I just want to get that straight, because that will help me to know how
I think I'll go with the second option,
you
leaving
want to
interior design completely.
designing and move into
And,
sales.
yeah,
So what you need to do is, because you don't have, you need to, I might recommend a structured way of learning tech sales.
okay.
Okay, you need to start from the foundation. What is tech sales? Skills of a tech salesperson. Move into, tools. Move into emailing. Move into cold calling. You need to learn it from end to end. Understand what it involves, and then start looking at how to apply for roles. That might be the better way of transitioning for you. But if you're looking at learning sales skills to implement and make you a better interior designer, or help you sell your service as an interior designer, that's a different thing. You don't need to go deep. You just need to get the basics of sales, understand how to probably market your services much more better, and continue in that field. You don't need to go into moving into these tech sales, learning this to understanding. You don't need to go that area. So these are the two options for you, and I'm sure your team leaders, community leaders would guide you on where to move to and how to get the right training for you, right?
All right. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome. Any other question? And then for if just to say that I said in the beginning of our conversation that I'll share the link to the new platform that we're building, so you could check it out, sign up, and we'll give you a free access once it's ready by next month. I leave between 4 to 8 months free. All right.
Yeah.
Back to you.
And this is endorsed by TSN, because Genius Nimble is their first customer. I'm sorry, partners, I think. So yes, this is fully endorsed by TSN. Genius Nimble is awesome. I and Gertrude even recorded like some of the courses, and it's amazing. I think you should. They went like really granular. If you're new in sales, if you're new in tech sales, Genius Nimble's courses is a go-to. Like, I would recommend it. Like, you should start there. So thank you so much, everyone. We are 20 minutes above time. Chika, whenever you come here, we go above time. So thank you, everyone, for spending your Thursday with us. This is something that we, everything being equal, we're going to continue doing, every month, every last Thursday of the month by 7 p.m. We're going to be having this Newbie series for people who are new in tech sales, who are looking to transition into tech sales. So still coming. So this is going to continue. So I want to thank excuse me, I want to thank everyone for being here. This was awesome. I don't know about every other person. So I just want to ask something. Could you share, like, just before you jump off, could you share on the chat, like, how this session was? Or, even better, let's go to the channel. If you are not in TSN Slack channel, please fill the form. I shared a form for you to fill. You can fill the form and then you'll be let into the Slack channel. But if you're in the Slack channel, can we go to the events and events channel and just like share how this, was for you? Kind of like encourage us and encourage Chika that, this is something that you would like to be seen monthly. So let's make this happen. Thank you, everyone. Juliet, thank you so much for sharing already. Thank you so much, everyone. And I will give you back your evening. I will give you back your morning, Chika. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Akachi.
Bye. Bye, Emenike.